The mayor of Chernihiv told CNN that Russian attacks on the city have intensified despite Moscow's claim that it would scale them back. What used to be a thriving city has been reduced to rubble by Russian shelling. A Ukrainian soldier in Chernihiv told me earlier today about the damage.
Most of our schools are damaged, and also the Russian forces hits our hospitals. So, for example, as I know, 3 hospitals in Chernihiv are damaged now. Many civil houses near borders of the city also is destroyed. So the Russian forces aim it on civil buildings and infrastructures, but not into the forces objects of our Ukrainian armed force.
New satellite images of central Mariupol are revealing a level of devastation only glimpsed in recent weeks. They are also the first visual update not coming from Russian media. First, let's look at a picture from June of last year, before Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and that same neighborhood now, an image taken just yesterday. Whole city blocks are obliterated. Many buildings no longer have roofs. Entire apartment complexes gone. Joining us live now to discuss the ongoing destruction is Volodymyr Omelyan, Ukraine's former Minister for Infrastructure. Volodymyr, thank you so much for being with us. So you're in and around Kyiv, if I'm not mistaken. You're based in Kyiv. Just set the scene for us in terms of what you're seeing, in terms of the damage to the city.
This picture is really awful. We never expected this to see in real life, so we only read it in historical books, but right now it's our new reality. And if we talk about Kiev, all small towns and villages are simply destroyed and razed almost to the ground by Russians. It's obvious that Putin gave Russian soldiers license to kill, to rob, and also to murder all citizens in Ukraine without any division into civilians or armed forces. And it's a sad picture, but thing is that Ukrainians are all united to fight enemy back, and we do progress. Because yesterday Russians said that they are taking back troops from Kyiv and Kharkiv, which is fake story, because we made them to do so, and they simply run away right now from many destinations. But they are trying to attack our forces in the east of Ukraine, and definitely it's a great challenge for us right now how to make a really good counter-offensive actions against Russians. That's why we badly need right now offensive weapons, not simply to protect ourselves, but to make Russians leave Ukraine. And I tell you frankly that I have experience to use javelins, but taking into account 150,000 Russian soldiers left in Ukraine, it's very difficult for me or any other person to run after each Russian soldiers with javelin or stinger. It's better to have missile system, it's better to have tanks and aircraft to fight them back.
It's interesting because you worked most recently as the Minister for Infrastructure in Ukraine. And then, like a lot of people, you've had to trade that in for guns and for weaponry in order to defend your country. What do you think are some of the tactical advantages that the Ukrainian forces have over the Russian forces at this point?
Russians do the same thing as they did in all previous wars. So they have a lot of soldiers and they send them to die. They have a lot of tanks and warships and aircraft to bomb and to destroy our cities and to break the will of the nation. But it will never take the place, and we are very happy to have a strong army which is countering Russians in a very good manner and quite unexpected for them. And definitely, it's also about Ukrainian people. The Russians did hope that we will greet them, but we greet them only with Kalashnikov and our weapons we have, but not with roses or song.
You think about what's happened to your country in just over a month, the level of destruction that we've seen to schools, to hospitals, to apartment buildings reduced to rubble, to infrastructure like bridges and roads. The estimate is that it would take about $63 billion to actually begin to rebuild Ukraine, given that level of devastation. How does Ukraine, even after the war ends, how does Ukraine even go about beginning to actually rebuild its cities and towns?
No, as we say in Ukraine, that the only thing which is worse than war with Russia is peace with Russia. And we do understand that this story will end only with the resolution of Kremlin issue. Putin is not mad. He wants simply to restore the empire. That's why it's not a fight between Ukraine and Russia. It's a war in Europe to restore Soviet empire and to make kind of parade in Kiev celebrating this USSR renovation. We break those plans together with United States, and we are very grateful to the nation of United States that are standing with us in these very challenging times. Because we do understand that even after the victory, we have a lot of to do. And we know that Russian issue is not the last issue to be resolved by West, because there are some other countries who would like to be allies to Russia and also to rule the world, not in democratic, but more autocratic way.
Volodymyr, Omelyan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.